This is Chris from Jebediah. And you're with Dando on Torrent This.
And now I'm joined on the line by a member of a band who, after taking a 6-year hiatus, returned this year with their 5th studio album titled Kosciuszko, which was nominated for Best Rock Album at this year's ARIA Awards. And they'll be playing at the SB in Melbourne on New Year's Eve. I'm of course talking about Jebediah, and I'm lucky to be joined on the line by their guitarist Chris. Chris, thanks for your time, man, and how's things?
Then I'm well, buddy. I'm well. I think if we didn't get an ARIA this year, but if they had an ARIA for about bloody time, we probably would have got one.
So yeah, a busy week this week?
No, this week's cool. We've kind of wound down at the moment. We put out our record in April, so we've been touring since then. And at the moment, we've got a little bit of a break before New Year's Eve, so it's nice. We sort of wound up at the ARIAs a couple of weekends ago, and I think it was quite a fitting way to finish the record run.
What do you got planned for Christmas?
Perth Christmas. That's going to be hot. Very little, hopefully. I mean, my partner is a school teacher, so she gets holidays.
Yep.
So as much spending as much time as I can doing sweet FA, my friend.
Yeah. What are you hoping to get for Christmas?
For Christmas, I hadn't really thought about it yet. I'm going to treat myself this year. I'm going to get myself a Christmas present, which is something I haven't done. Well, I can't remember the last time. I'm looking for a new guitar, and I think I'm going to treat myself this year. I've never bought a brand new one.
Yeah.
And it can only be a good thing, I think, seeing as though it's my bread and butter, so something like that. But, man, I'm into surprises, whatever comes my way. A couple of cold beers.
Do you guys give out Christmas presents to each other, like in the band?
No, not as such. I think that if that sort of novelty might have worn a long time ago. That, I mean, birthdays now, if they're remembered, you know, we can celebrate them together, but we're kind of, you know, we're pretty satisfied people, I've got to admit, you know.
Yeah.
Don't yearn for much.
Are you looking forward to the New Year's gig at the SB?
Very much so, mate. It's going to be a great party. Yeah, I've been telling everyone about it. It's going to be a bit of a catch-up with some bands that we've been playing with this year as well, so.
Are you a little disappointed, though, that you're not going to be home for New Year's?
No. I mean, I think it's you know, I feel very lucky to get the opportunity to go away and you know, play a show in another town for New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And I'm very lucky, you know, I've got friends that are coming over for it. So it's kind of an event when you live in Perth to go over to Melbourne for New Year's.
Have you ever missed any special moments, like important birthdays or weddings, due to like touring?
Of course. Yeah, mate. I mean, when you're busy on the road, you're on the road a lot, you know, and there's bound to be, you know, as long as you're a Nigel No Friends, there's bound to be someone's birthday sooner or later that rocks around. I missed my mum's 60th.
Ooh.
And my dad's 60th, come to think of it. Our family's very understanding and supporting of us. It's not like we don't call or, you know, give them our love. So it's you know, they're aware that we're doing you know, doing our job, I guess. But we're having a lot of fun. So there's certainly no animosity.
Now there was a 6-year break between album releases. But you guys were working on Kosciuszko for 3 years, yeah?
Yeah, about that, mate. We did take a break. I mean, initially we decided after we'd sort of had enough of ourselves for a bit, we'd go our separate ways and just focus on you know, our other pursuits for a while.
Yeah.
And of course, Kev, you know, he actually had to make some records with Bob Evans.
Bob Evans, yeah.
Something he kind of had to do as well. So we were quite happy to give him some space, and I guess time just ticked by pretty quickly. You know, we were all working, and it was probably about 3 years before we started getting stuck into the actual recording block for Kosciuszko. But we'd been getting together at least every few months to, you know, just to maintain the vibe, I guess, and keep in touch. But it was a really great break, you know. And I think the album has really benefited from that kind of thing. Yeah.
Were there any songs left off that you felt could have made it onto it?
Honestly, yes. But I mean, I could have put everything that we recorded for the Kosciuszko album sessions on there if I had my way, but it's a compromise, you know. There are certain reasons why you can't put every song on there. You do need to couple up your sleeve for different things. So it's kind of, I mean, it's not a hard choice to leave stuff off if you know that it's going to get put out there eventually, or there's another way that's going to be released.
Yeah.
So, you know, as long as people get to hear them, I'd be kind of disappointed, you know, if the hard drive crashed and all of our work went on the drain. But that's, you know, that hasn't happened yet.
Thankfully.
I think with songs, you focus on putting together a good package and making it an album that people want to listen to from start to finish, hopefully. So, you don't want to sort of, I guess, repeat the vibe too many times.
Yeah. Did it ever get annoying, though, that Kev didn't live in Perth anymore?
No, it's not annoying. I think as soppy as it sounds, that's where his family is, and his wife, and he's very happy being in Melbourne. I don't think anyone can really be expected to live somewhere that they don't have a strong association to. And it was Kev had sort of let us know that it was time for him to move interstate.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think is it should be done. I mean, I'm not really sure whether or not leaving Perth is a good idea. So yeah, look, it's been great, and now we've got a home base over there too, and we just dump all our stuff in his garage and we finish touring.
I've read a lot of online reviews of the new album. Are these something you pay particular attention to?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if they come our way, I'll have a peek. I mean, I actually work in a record store as my day job, so I'm always reading record reviews or writing them or whatnot, and I don't take them to heart, but you're right. I mean, most of them are pretty positive, and I don't necessarily think that we deserve positive reviews all the time. I think if people have constructive criticisms and whatnot, it's good to hear. But I guess when you're sort of 5 albums in, people either like you or they don't. So if someone doesn't like you, they're probably not going to get their review printed, or you know what I mean? It's kind of print space, and I think the thing with reviews when they're in the press is that if it's not a positive review, it kind of defeats the purpose of telling people about the record.
Yeah, well, She's Like a Comet would obviously be probably the biggest hit off the album. Do you think old fans would like this song, or do you think they've given up?
Look, I think there's always a little bit of both. I mean, I don't think they've given up on us. I think if there was something about our previous albums or, us in the past that you were a fan of and not so much now, I'd have no qualms with that. I'm happy for people to hold on to their fond memories or, to have a bit of nostalgia for us. And if they're, if that's what their feeling is when they see us play, that's fine. But I certainly can't say that that's the kind of energy we get at shows. It's been, we've had a really great run, and I really think we're sort of on top of our game at the moment, and it's been exciting. But and we're older, so is our crowd, and some of them ain't as old as we are. So,
do you think She's Like a Comet helps you reach a new audience?
I think it did. Yeah, it definitely got a lot of radio airplay. Around the place. So people, in some ways, would have found it hard to avoid. If they listen to the radio.
Yeah.
And when the radio's on, you don't pick and choose the playlist. So I guess it has been, it's been put out there. And if young people want to pick up on it, I've definitely seen kids at our shows knowing the words to stuff like Comet.
Yeah.
But I remember what it was like being, that age as well. I mean, you're kind of more interested in people your own age and bands that you can,
relate to,
sort of consider yourself, relate to, that you're on the level with. But I think that's, it comes with the territory. If you stay together long enough, you're going to get old. Yeah.
You guys were nominated for Best Rock Album at the Arias. Did you expect to win?
No.
No? Why not?
Well, I just had a feeling that it wouldn't be we wouldn't be ARIA award winners. I just there's some really great competition out there, and I'm a big fan of some of the other records that were in the category too. So I wouldn't have voted for our record above them necessarily. So I probably would have, but I think when it comes down to it, there's a lot of factors involved, and it hasn't. We're not going to quit or anything, so it's another go, I reckon. What's it
like working in a music store? Do you ever get noticed by fans?
Yeah, but sometimes. But it's a great job, dude. I think it suits the kind of person that I am. I really enjoy the interaction with customers, and if they know Jebediah, well, they usually only say so if they like what you do. I don't think I can remember an instance where someone's just gone, "You're in Jebediah. I hate that band." So people are pretty, and they know what the level is, and I'm quite happy for fans of the band to see us, and I keep restocking the $10 bin with our oldies.
Do you work just to keep yourself busy? Because I'm assuming you must be pretty comfortable now after being in Jebediah.
It's a funny world. Look, I guess if my aim in life was the pursuit of money and riches, I probably would have taken a different tack at this stage by now.
Yeah.
It's not something we do for money. and we spend a lot of our money that we earn on doing it. It's an interesting situation when you're in a professional band that can make a profit, I guess, by being on the road. Because you got to be very careful about how you run that side of things. There's a lot of people who, if you mismanage it, will take advantage of you. And I think we've had our ups and downs in that area.
Yep.
But I think I can't imagine how boring it would be if you weren't, doing something with your time. I mean, if you were just waiting to go back out on the road, you'd probably want to live on the road.
Yeah.
And that doesn't appeal to me. So I'm pretty, I've got to support myself as well. So
if you weren't in Jebediah, where do you see yourself? Like, where do you think you would have been now if you weren't in Jebediah?
That's tricky. I think I've always had a real enthusiasm for performance, and music has been my avenue of expression in that way.
Yep.
But I've had a show on Nova before. I've done radio. I like writing. There's lots of kind of creative things that I really enjoy doing in my own time. That aren't career orientated or anything like that. It's kind of just the personal drive to create better and better things, I think. And I don't know. I think one of the things that's funny about touring around is you become quite a food critic, and I reckon I would quite happily, if someone offered me a little column or whatnot with a regular sort of food critic, going around to bars, getting paid to eat.
Why not?
And that would be right up my alley.
I noticed on Facebook you guys had like a cocktail competition. Yeah, like Devil's Cock and Balls or something. Who won that? Well,
people said which one they liked the most. I don't know if we tallied up the end results. I got a feeling that mine probably was nudging ahead, but it was pretty even across the board, I got to admit. The thing was, we didn't even tell people what was in the cocktail.
Yeah, I know, it's just the name, yeah.
It's just the name and a picture of what it looked like. So, can get a bit anal when it comes to that kind of thing. So I was, infusing with ginger and stuff like that. But I think Kev's was straight up rocket fuel. So, you gotta do something when you're killing time. And we just figured we had something we could share with people who are our friends on Facebook and the like.
Do you think Facebook's important to the band?
No, I don't actually.
You don't reckon?
No, it's not. It's not important to us because it doesn't factor into the way that we make decisions involving our music or how we relate to each other or our management. I guess it's handy for us to be able to have instant sort of contact with people that want that contact with us.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't there, it wasn't there for the first 10 years of our of our band lifespan, and I don't think it certainly didn't mean we couldn't be a successful band in that sort of regard. So in some ways I'm tiring of that stuff a lot, but...
So you're not a fan of social media?
It's not about that for me, so, I'm quite happy for it to be what it is and to give everything it's my turn, and I think that's the way it rolls out.
Whose choice was it to cover Apartment for Triple J, like a version?
I think I threw 2 Custard songs into the hat when we were choosing.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan, and I've heard they've played some reunion shows recently, but not this side of the country.
Oh.
Got my fingers crossed. Maybe I'll swing into them somewhere. But we played shows with Custard when we were first starting, and big fans of, I guess my favourite album is Weisenheimer, so anything off that. I would love to have done Goo Finder, but
really?
I think for what the purpose of the exercise is, it's good to choose something that people are familiar with, and a short song's always a bonus too.
Do you get told like a specific genre you have to pick from, or do you just pick any song?
It's no, we had a couple of suggestions which got knocked back.
Yeah.
But then, as because that process, it was actually back and forth for a little while.
Yeah.
And it's kind of difficult for a band like us. We're not a covers band. We don't rehearse covers for our own enjoyment most of the time. It's something that we, that we take the opportunity to enjoy. So it's got to be a song that we all like. And as much as there's other ones out there that would probably be more suitable doing. I thought grab a kazoo, play the riff. 2 minutes flat, you're done.
Yeah.
And I think it went down well. You know, like I think it's a good opportunity for bands to be able to drop their own persona and show people kind of, you know, where they're coming from and what kind of music possibly they could stick them into.
Would you prefer to play in front of 100 people in a pub or in front of thousands at a festival?
I would prefer to play to 100 people in a pub.
Yeah? More intimate?
Yeah, easily. I mean, it's different on lots of levels. And one of them being the fact that in a pub, usually we get a sound check sometime before, so you can be, you know, you can relax and you can be confident that things aren't going to
go wrong.
There's going to be no technical hiccups. Because when that happens, I mean, there's hardly anything worse than having that kind of problem, having your guitar cut out at a festival. You know, it takes years off your life, I reckon. I stress too much, but you don't plan for that. And, you know, with a pub gig, it's easy to be able to have a bit of banter with the crowd. You know, festivals are kind of like, how you doing? Everyone having a good time? Whereas club shows, you can hear what people are saying.
Yeah.
You know, and you can converse with them. And I think that's important for the experience of the punter.
How often do you guys, like, after you finish the set at, say, a pub or whatever, do you go out and interact with fans? Do you ever go out and do that? Yeah, we do that a lot, man. It really depends on, I think, each person's, you know, individual enthusiasm after the gig. You know, if you haven't had a particularly great show or anything, and it's impossible to keep having them all the time, I mean, you know, you might decide to have a quiet drink and kick around with maybe the band's backstage or your crew, but I think if people want to say g'day to us, then it's the least we could do, really. Yeah. And, you know, I get a buzz out of it as well. And especially having been an inactive sort of touring band for a few years, you forget faces and friends, and it's really nice to get those relationships re-established. You know, we've got a lot of really great fans. And, you know, I just want to put that out there. I think, you know, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be around anymore. Yeah, it's obviously no skin off our nose. Yeah, we're running low on time, so just a couple more questions. What does 2012 hold for you guys? At this stage, we're keeping a fairly open schedule. It's I think we're really happy with what's happened this year. So we don't have any immediate plans to go back in to record another record. Okay. At this stage, and I know Kev is probably shuffling towards another Bob Evans release. Okay, all right, yeah. At this stage, you know, we've got some other shows lined up. You know, we've got things on the calendar, but we're not the kind of band that really gets scheduling. You know, it needs to be all mapped out for us. We're a bit of a go with the flow kind of thing. So if it feels right to be back together and recording, if we get an inspiration to do that, then I don't think that anyone would sort of say, hey, I'm not ready, or, you know, not into it. You know, it's just something we've been doing for a long time, but we do it in our own way. And I guess having Kev live in Melbourne is something that's probably the biggest hurdle. Yep. But that in itself can be turned around, and, you know, we're not an improvisational kind of band, but if we have to be, sometimes I kind of think we do well like that. So it wouldn't, you know, if we had to put another record out soon, it probably would be very similar to Kosciuszko, because we spent a lot of time working on that. Yep. But that couldn't be, you know, might not be a bad thing either. Mm-hmm. What's your honest thoughts on Bob Evans? I love the guy. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think he's a very talented goddamn boy, and you know, he's a romantic. Is he? He likes singing love songs and songs of woe and stuff like that, you know, and he rocks out on an acoustic guitar. And half the time he's playing with a band of, you know, rock dogs as well. So it's you know, I think it's a great outlet for those other tunes that he writes. And, you know, I'm really, really proud of the success that he's had. I mean, he's an ARIA award winner. Yeah. So buy me a drink. Now, there's one last question, man. Thanks for your time. What advice do you have for all aspiring songwriters and musicians? Oh, it's such a loaded question, I guess. It depends what you want to get out of it, I think. You've got to ask yourself that, whether your expectations of what you're going to achieve or what goals you set yourself are realistic or unrealistic. I mean, either way, you know, if you've got goals, you've got to set about trying to achieve them, I guess. And for us as a band, that was something that came naturally. You know, we had a real drive to be Jebediah, to play at the big day out or whatever. And with that kind of drive, people are attracted to that.
And if you get people on board that can help you, manage your band and all that sort of stuff, it's good to listen to them. I mean, there's a lot of people in the industry that will offer you advice.
Yeah.
There's lots of places you can get it. And that's not for everyone. I mean, sometimes I think coming at an industry like the music industry, which goes through fashions and fads and ups and downs and that kind of thing, sometimes bringing a whole fresh approach to what you do can turn an industry on its head, if people take notice. And some of the biggest sort of movements in music happen by people who are trying to go against the grain and not listen to what people have said and, that kind of stuff.
Nirvana, 1990.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, they changed my life in lots of ways.
Yeah.
And musically, and gave me, the kind of, I guess, realization that sometimes, if you work hard, you can get what you want. So, I mean, it really comes down to how much you really want things. But I also think as well that it's not life or death as well. It's music, and it should be enjoyed. I think if you took the enjoyment element and the fun away from it, there's a lot of others probably rather be doing. So I think that's important to try and remember not to take everything too seriously as well and get hung up on image or, these days when people do interviews or quotes or, they can get strung out about the way they're interpreted or that kind of stuff. And I really think it's a bit of a dead end for your energy there because it's just all people's opinions. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And I think, you pick up on that, and it becomes part of what you do. So I think you just got to try and kick out the jams. And if you're a rock band, then rock.
Well, there you go. If you're looking for something to do on New Year's Eve this year, get on down to the SB where you'll see Jebediah headline what's sure to be an awesome night. And for all the latest news and info on Jebediah, visit jebediah.net. Once again, Chris, thanks for your time, man, and good luck with the rest of the year.
No problem. I just wanted to say there is a large lineup of awesome bands on tonight. It's going to be a party and a half.
Yeah, it's going to be a great night.
So if you want to dance with Timmy Rogers, get your ass on the floor. You'll be there.
Make sure you get there, guys. All right, thanks again, Chris.
No problem at all, man. Thanks a lot for having your questions prepared.
Cheers, man.